BYD versus Tesla. What's going on? The Q1 manufacturing and delivery figures are now available for both BYD and Tesla. So who's currently winning? And who will likely be the winner by year's end? BYD and Tesla are currently the two largest EV manufacturers, and they're both experiencing massive or excellent growth rates. Let's take a look at BYD's sales figures and compare them to Tesla's. Although BYD's numbers actually dropped from Q4 2022 to Q1 2023, their total sales still exceed Tesla's, despite Tesla having had another record quarter. The reasoning behind these changes is not very simple, and it's not just because Tesla has dropped its prices, so I'm not going to go into that right this time. BYD's total sales figures for the first quarter are still around 550,000, with Tesla just behind at 420,000. But BYD sales figures are for new energy vehicles, and that includes their plug-in hybrids. So if you just consider the battery electric vehicle sales, BYD's just under half, about 48%. So BYD's sales slipped to about 260,000. Even so, both figures are still very impressive, and they dominate all the other companies. I mean, GM sold 2 Hummer in the first quarter. 2. Go check. 2. So all these figures are worldwide. But if you consider only the figures for China, BYD outstrips Tesla, as Tesla only sold 126,000 battery electric vehicles Q1 in China. While for BYD, most of what they sold, all bar a few percent, I think it was about 13 to 15,000 were sold outside of China out of their 260,000. So who's winning so far? Well, in China, BYD seems to be. But for the rest of the world, Tesla is. But for how long? What does each have in store to continue the increase in sales that both have witnessed? BYD has announced several new vehicles, some of which are now available in China or they're taking reservations. Meanwhile, Tesla hasn't announced anything, but they may well be concerned about the Osborne effect, and they tend not to announce things until they're absolutely ready. Although BYD doesn't have too many cars in their export market, things are changing. For instance, the Seal, which will probably be known as the Atto 4, is due very soon, certainly in Australia. And they've also got the Dolphin, which will probably be known as the Atto 2, and that's announced for overseas markets. So the Dolphin, which is BYD's smallest current model on sale, it's got a length of 4,125mm, a width of 1,777mm, and a height of 1,570mm. And it's got a wheelbase of 2,700mm. But they've also got the Seagull, which is an even smaller car. Now that has got a length of 3,780mm, a width of 1,715mm, and a height of 1,540. So it is a little bit smaller, and its wheelbase is only 2,500mm. The Seagull is equipped with a single motor, maximum power of 55 kilowatts, but it does have a top speed of 130 kilometers per hour, which isn't too bad. The model is available with a 30 kilowatt hour and a 38 kilowatt hour battery, and the CLTC range is 305 and 405 kilometers. So let's say 225 and 3 to 320 kilometer ranges in the real world. The lower range vehicle is probably more designed as a city car, and the larger battery Seagull could still be used outside of cities. There's also talk at least that the Seagull will have a lithium ion battery, and some models will have the sodium ion batteries. There's still no information yet on whether this will be released in Australia, but the tendency is that it probably won't. It will, however, prove very popular in China, where they like the small electric vehicles. And as it's got an estimated price range for the Seagull being RMB 80,000 to RMB 100,000, that equates to about 17,500 to 21,500 Australian dollars, makes it very attractive. Now, an anonymous source within BYD has informed the CNEV Post that the company's upcoming new brand, which is currently codenamed F, is planning to launch its first model, known at the moment as the SF, in June. Now, the SF will target a market price between 400 and 600,000 RMB, which is equating to about 86,000 to 136,000 Australian. So we're getting up there a bit now. And according to that same insider, the SF will be built on a new off-road platform from BYD, and it will feature dual motors with front and rear diff locks and an electric interlock. So it's going to be a four-wheel drive. So this suggests that BYD is actively expanding its product range and aiming to tap into new market segments, such as four-wheel drive, luxury, and so on. So it's going to be interesting to see how consumers respond to these new models and the F brand as a whole, and how they will impact BYD's sales performance in the coming months and years. And whilst I'm thinking of it, could you please click that like and subscribe button below to help me produce more videos? It costs you absolutely nothing to do so. Thanks. Tesla, on the other hand, tends not to release details too early for new items. But a Chinese media outlet known as 36KR has released some information and quoted sources saying that a smaller version of the Model Y from Tesla is in the offing. However, I'm not going to put too much weight on that just yet. We really need to hear that from more than a few sources, or at least Tesla themselves. Tesla is currently ramping up its two newest manufacturing facilities in Austin and in Berlin, and they should have a production run capability of over 500,000 cars each by the end of this year. Austin has just hit 4,000 vehicles per week. Berlin is on 5,000 vehicles per week. So they're getting there. They're also planning a new gigafactory in Mexico. And people believe that that will eventually have the capacity to produce 2 million cars within a short space of time. And this will keep their target of a compound annual growth rate of 50% well within reach. It's also expected that the Tesla Model Y will be the biggest single-selling vehicle in 2023. And that's just not EVs, it's all vehicles. In 2023, Tesla is aiming to sell 1.8 million cars. And I expect it will hit that level, maybe even exceed it slightly. In summary, BYD is going hammer and tongs in China and has started its expansion outside of China, and they've still got to lift that up a bit. And it will need all of this to continue its massive growth. And while Tesla is growing at a 50% compound annual growth rate, BYD are possibly even exceeding that slightly. So who's currently winning? Well, honestly, I think they both are. Tesla is currently positioned itself as a luxury brand. And if you look at all the awards, they're coming into the luxury car brand market. but it does have eyes on the lower end market with its potential $25,000 US mini Model Y, whatever it's going to be. While BYD is at the other end in the economically priced bracket, but it's starting to look at the luxury end. It's got its Denza brand, which it started with Daimler, Mercedes, and it's got a new F brand in the offing. So interesting times are ahead. And I think legacy auto manufacturers are in panic mode. If they aren't already, they should be. What do you think? Who do you think's winning? Put something in the comments below and let me know what you think. Thanks very much for watching. Please don't forget, can you click that like and subscribe button below? It costs you nothing, but it does help me. And I'll see you all very soon.